Hey everybody.
Fatbird Finds here.
I'm Mary Beth.
And I'm Laura.
And do you know what we're talking about today, Laura?
I know what we're talking about.
I do too. We're going to share with you guys how we got our name, Fatbird Finds. Okay, so if you guys are not aware, Laura and I used to work together at the American Quilter Society several years ago, about 10 years ago, right?
Can you believe it's been that long?
It has been a long time.
Yeah, it's been a long time.
And we were friends, and she came up to me one day and she's like, hey, I've got this really cool idea. We can make some extra money. And I'm like, okay, what are we gonna do?
Did you think it was a drug deal?
I didn't know what to think.
Oh my God.
All I knew was you were my friend and you were like, let's make some extra money. And I was in no position at the time to turn down some extra money. I was fresh out of college. All right, so why don't you tell everybody like your background?
Okay. Mom was the queen of the antique world, and so I sort of just tagged along with her. As you guys can tell, I don't have that much knowledge like she does, or George. But I wanted to contribute, and I came up with an idea to paint concrete. My mom we had gone on several trips together, and we had found this place that sold aluminum garden furniture. Have I told you this story?
I don't know.
And so we would paint that because it would come just raw aluminum. You couldn't sell it like that, but it's beautiful. The furniture is beautiful. And we had somebody to help us paint, and then we were going to do a garden show to show it off at the old Civic Center. And I was like, we need something to decorate with. We need something little and something outdoorsy to decorate with. And I found this article in this magazine that said, make your garden statuary look like lead, which is really fancy. Like the big castles and estates and stuff had lead statues. And they can be like thousands of dollars.
Wow.
Yeah. And you know, concrete's super cheap. I don't know if you guys have been to a concrete place before, but it's super cheap.
Yeah, you can get it really cheap.
So I did that. I slaved over 2 or 3 pieces, and they all sold on the first day, and I was like, oh my gosh. And so that's how it started, and it really escalated from there. Like, we had a couple of seasons, and on the best season, we sold thousands of dollars worth of it.
Why did you stop doing it?
It was a lot of work.
It's a lot of work, right?
The real reason was I got pregnant. And you know, you can't, your belly out to here, you can't lift that concrete like that. I mean, because I was lifting, it was a bunch. I was skinny because it's a lot of lifting and working outside and sweating, and
yeah,
it's a lot of work.
So fast forward from that about 10 years, Laura meets me. Hey, Mary Beth, do you want to make some extra money? I've got a side hustle opportunity for you. And I'm like, okay, what do we got to do?
She didn't know how much work it was going to be.
I didn't know what I had signed up for. So we had to put in, I don't know, like $150 to $200 each for like to get the wholesale price at the concrete place, and then to get some supplies. If you're getting $300 worth of wholesale concrete, that's a lot of concrete. So let's tell you that story about our very first trip to go get some concrete together. So at the time, Laura had a minivan, right?
Oh, yeah, I did.
Okay.
Didn't we all have minivans? Come on, guys.
So we load up in Laura's minivan and head off to this concrete place. It's called the Browse-A-Bout. I'm going to put a link to the Browse-A-Bout below. Awesome place. Ask for David.
Yeah, that was our teaser at the end of the hometown video.
Yeah. Okay, so we load up and go to the Browse-A-Bout. Tons, literal tons and tons of concrete. You could look at this place for hours and not see everything there. We knew we were looking for things we can lift, because anything that's too big, we simply just can't work with it.
You just can't do it.
So, I don't know, things about this tall to things about this tall were the things that we looked for. So we loaded up that van with so much concrete, I thought our tires were going to pop on the way home.
Yeah, my granddad is the one that would keep me from doing stupid stuff like that. And he wasn't with us. And he would probably kill me if he had seen that vehicle. It was so bad.
We drove like 30 miles an hour all the way home.
And we weren't very far from home, Mary Beth. We should have made 2 trips.
We really should have. It was a lot. That van, that minivan, All the seats were loaded up, all the floorboards and the back was loaded down with concrete statuary.
Yeah, we're lucky that we didn't blow the tires.
So then we get home and Laura's like, okay, let me show you how to paint some of this stuff. And we picked a few pieces, some of the ones that Laura thought that would sell the best to start off with. And so we get into the process and we paint a few pieces. After we finish them, we take the pieces to the store, to Laura's mom's store, Lamon's, to sell. And lo and behold, it didn't take long, right?
Oh, that's right.
It didn't take long at all. And our very, very first piece to sell was this little guy. And he's just a little fat bird. And Laura's like, I think we should call our concrete business Fat Bird Concrete and Statuary. Because he was the very first piece that sold of our little endeavor together.
Yeah, and it was so funny because you had never seen any of this stuff. And if you guys want a fun thing to do, I mean, go on a cool day because it's when it's hot, it's not fun. But if you want to do something funny, you should go to one of these big concrete places and just look at what they have.
They're so funny.
I mean, they have like alligators, you know, smoking a cigarette.
With bikinis on.
Just all kinds of crazy stuff. So we were having a big time and we were cutting up. Imagine that.
Imagine that.
So Mary Beth would pick something up and say something funny, of course. And then she's like, oh, he's so fat. Look how he's fat. He's a fat bird.
And then we've got one that we call Really Fat Bird. And he actually looks more like our logo, to be honest. He's like super round. But he wasn't the first one to sell. This little guy was.
And he's real happy with his mouth open.
Yeah.
But this one's really pretty.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of work, but we've really done pretty well. We haven't made thousands and thousands, really, like Laura said that she made 10 or so years ago, but we went to Las Vegas.
That was 1,000.
On our concrete money. This is why I'm wearing my Vegas shirt.
Oh, that's smart.
Yeah.
You're supposed to clue me in on stuff like that. I've got a Vegas shirt I can wear.
Well, I'm sorry. I was just trying to be, you know,
That's so cute.
representational of our stuff.
You're so good at it.
I'm pretty good at stuff. So yeah, I mean, that's all it's about, you know, is having fun and making a little bit of extra money, which is exactly what we're doing right now with our channel and our little YouTube, or excuse me, our little eBay store.
Yeah. If I need to start listing.
I know.
I'm telling you, I've fallen behind.
So, you know, this is something that Laura and I just do on the side. We both have full-time jobs, and it's if we can do it, anybody can do it. You know, we list things part-time on our eBay store, make a little bit of extra money. You know, we're gonna probably go on vacation maybe one day when we're allowed to travel.
Yeah.
We just painted a lot of things for this video, and we pretty much have already sold everything we painted.
Yeah, it's just been a day or two.
So we might want to get back into the habit.
I just took him down to Mom's last night, and she's texting me today while I'm at my real job, and she's like, well, sold that. Well, sold that. Well, these ladies wish they could get some bunnies. We even had a YouTuber, Mary Beth.
Karen Radford.
Hi, Karen.
Karen came to Lamon's today.
Yeah.
That's exciting.
She wanted some bunnies. They were sold already.
Oh, sorry, Karen. We'll try to get some more of those painted soon.
So this is the tie into thrifting, Mary Beth.
This is a good story.
This little piece I painted probably 20 years ago.
20 years ago.
I mean, it had to be at least that. So, it's probably longer than that.
Okay.
That's the earliest it could have been, is 20 years. And this showed up in the Goodwill. Have you guys ever found anything at Goodwill that was yours? And you bought it back?
So you're telling us that you painted that 20 years ago and probably sold it. And then you went to the
definitely.
Goodwill and found this guy like 20 years later.
Yeah.
That's great.
Isn't that hilarious?
That's fantastic.
And number one, that's funny. And number two, it shows you how well the paint holds up.
Mm-hmm.
Now, sometimes if you set one out in a whole bunch of weather, it'll chip off after 4 or 5 years. But this one might have been on a porch, or something like that. And look at it. I mean, it survived pretty darn well.
I think so. Now that we've talked about the business, do you want to let everybody in on our secret? Are you sure you want to give away your painting secret?
I'm really not sure. I really hope this is a popular video because it really makes me nervous. I've told so many people, I've lied so many times and said I I can't explain how to do it. I didn't do it. I don't know. I've had a lot of stories.
Okay.
Because I just was guarding my secret. But we're going to share with you guys because we can't ship the stuff. And I'm getting too old to lift the stuff. And so maybe you guys will have fun with this.
Yeah. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Let's get into it.
Okay.
So Laura, I think the finish that we do most often is the one that looks like weathered copper.
Oh, no doubt. Most popular.
It's like this one right here. It's kind of got the green crevices, creases with the copper color on the outside. We have done some others in the past, but I think this is the one that goes over the best.
Oh, hands down.
And this one is not the copper finish. What is that?
No, at first I thought it was and just faded, but this is, when I started out, remember I told you at the beginning of the video I was trying to copy lead, so this is a lead finish. You know, the nicer things like this, the prettier, more elegant things, they were really cool in that lead finish, but it didn't sell half as well as this one.
Gotcha.
We tried the green without the copper. That's not even half as popular.
Yeah.
And so what happens is if you get a whole bunch of different finishes going, inevitably you're out of this one and somebody comes in and sees it in another finish and go, I'll take that, but I'll take that in the verdigris with copper finish.
Right, so we pretty much exclusively only use the copper finish now.
Yeah.
Okay, so the very first thing that we do when we get a piece of concrete home is to file down the bottom. So these concrete pieces have come right out of their molds, and those molds fit together and they have seams. So every once in a while you're gonna have a seam on your concrete piece that you kind of have to file down, because if you paint it and then that piece chips off, then you've got a huge gaping hole in your
that's so
finish.
aggravating.
Yeah, so we file off the bottoms. We make sure everything is really smooth, and then if they have any creases at all, we file those down as well. Also, every once in a while the concrete has like a rock in it, like where it was mixed, it didn't mix up great, and there'll be like a rock, and you almost have to just work and work and work to file that down. So that's the first thing we do, and then we brush them off really good with like a little broom or a little brush.
The concrete dust is thick on these pieces.
And you don't want to paint over that concrete dust because that just makes kind of like a frothy, soupy mess.
All right, Mary Beth, so the next part is the base coating.
The base coat.
It's the boring part to some people, but it's the important part. How many times have you heard that in your life?
And it really is the most important part.
Yeah, it really is. It seals out all that dust. It's almost like, you know how if you guys do any cake decorating, you know, you have to rough in the icing on the cake.
Yeah.
And then before it's pretty, this is the same kind of thing.
Yes. You have to make sure all the crevices, all the cracks, all the little pinholes that might be left from that porous concrete are filled in.
You need a water-based latex, preferably black, but if there's some on sale at Lowe's or something and it's super dark, you can use really any color because you're going to cover it up, but just in case a little bit comes through, you want it as dark as possible.
Right, we use black. The next step Laura won't let me do. I tried it and she promptly told me that I wasn't good at it, so I don't get to do it anymore.
This is true. You're really good at filing, Mary Beth.
Yeah, that's my least favorite job.
I know.
It's
mine too.
You like you need to wear a mask really when you
should.
do that because there's so much dust.
You should.
I don't. Always.
You should also wear a mask to do this step.
Yeah.
And it's another base coat, but it's the spray coat. The good news is all you need is 97-cent Walmart spray paint. It works the best.
Tell everybody what they need.
You've got to have, I know it sounds funny, but you got to have flat black.
Flat black.
Not satin, not eggshell or whatever. It's got to be flat.
Yep. Black. 97 cents.
Yep.
At the Walmart.
Yes. And you've got to have it at step. If you don't, do you see how, look how pretty this is right here. See that, Mary Beth? Do you see how you can, if you polish on that enough with like a cloth,
yeah,
it just gets shinier and shinier.
Right.
So if you don't use the spray paint step, you can't get that. It all looks stuck on green.
Gotcha.
Or stuck on gray right here.
Right.
You don't get any of that pretty polish.
Right.
See, because that's not holding very much paint in those dark spaces.
Right.
Yep.
Which leads us to the next step, which is the green paint. Right?
Yep. This is the winner.
Yes. So here's what you do with the green paint. You just like pick a small section at a time, because if you paint during June like we're doing right here, it dries really quickly. So you've got to pick a small spot, paint on, and then immediately rub it off with a cloth.
You might want to have me come over and mix the water in there and make it thin enough.
Yeah, Laura likes to water down the paint just right. I'm not really good at it.
I let her do it this last time because I was like, oh well, it's been a long time. I just go for it.
It was too thick.
I looked at it and I was like, yeah, that's pretty good. I should have stirred it myself.
I didn't do it to suit her. She's hard to please.
Sorry.
Aren't you?
I'm usually really easy to please. I think this I've just got down to a science.
So yeah, you put on the green paint and then you just immediately rub it off with a cloth and leave that green paint down there in those cracks and those grooves.
Yeah, and you don't have to leave that on purpose. It stays down in there. You know, you can't really dig it out.
Yes.
And it dries fast. You can only probably do this much at a time.
Yep. So after that step, I suppose you could be finished if you want, but this is like icing on the cake, this next step.
Yes.
It's the copper part. So this is just like a metallic copper acrylic paint, right?
Yeah, from the craft store.
Yeah.
Of which they had none at Walmart again. Good thing we had a bottle, on reserve.
Yeah, so when we say that our pieces are hand painted, they quite literally are hand painted, because we do use our hands and our fingers to apply that last coat of bronze paint on the tops.
And nothing else will do.
Yeah.
You can't, a cloth puts too much on, a brush puts way too much on.
Yep.
I mean, I guess you could, if you used a dry enough brush, maybe, but it wouldn't look like this. It wouldn't look like, when you rub it, it looks like the weather and the rain and stuff did it.
Right, exactly. And you just kind of lightly rub your fingertips over, and it hits the high spots of these pieces, so that just the high spots that you just barely brush with your fingers are getting that bronze paint, and it is just such a nice highlight. The bronze is my favorite step.
Yeah, I love that. You're good at that.
It's the most fun. The rest of it is not as much fun.
Yeah, it's a pretty arduous process.
Yes. Okay, so that's the process.
It just takes practice and technique. I feel like you guys can do it, and I would love to see it, and Mary Beth would too. So if you make a good attempt, or if you make a bad attempt.
Mine are usually bad attempts.
A nailed it kind of attempt. Isn't
Yeah.
there a show called that?
Yeah.
Send us your pictures. fatbirdfinds@gmail.com.
Yeah, or you could post them on Instagram and tag us.
Oh, Instagram. You're so good at Instagram.
I'm really
forget about
not.
that. That's what we should do.
I'm actually quite bad at it. I kind of forget about it and forget to post. I should do a better job. So guys, that's the story of how we got our name Fat Bird. And then like a year ago, Laura approached me again. She was like, hey, I have another idea for a side hustle. And I'm like, another side hustle? And she's like, I think we can have a YouTube channel. I think we can still sell stuff on eBay. And I'm like, oh no, another side hustle.
You were like, what will we sell?
Yeah, I was like, what are we gonna sell and what's our store gonna be? And she's like, I think we should just stay Fat Bird. And I was like, well, we can't be Fat Bird Concrete. Do we want to be Fat Bird Vintage? I was like, that doesn't really sound good. And she was like, how about Fat Bird Finds? I was like, that's great. That's a real cool thing. We can just like find whatever. We can find thrift stores. We can find yard sales. We can find concrete. We can do whatever we want.
That's right.
Yeah.
Find hometowns.
We can find lots of things. So I'm glad that you came along with us on this video of how we got our name and how we got our start.
It's very special to us, so we hope you enjoy it, and we hope that you have some success and decorate your yards.
Yeah. So as always, we want to thank you guys for coming along with us and watching this video. This video is being posted on a Tuesday morning at 9 a.m. So we want to remind you guys that our new videos from now on will be posted on Tuesday mornings, 9 a.m. Central Time. Then on every Friday night, we are going to be flipping and sipping at 9 p.m. Central Time.
That's right. We've had so much fun, and I just love talking to you guys in the comments and everything, and we just wanted to reserve that time just to have fun and not to have a lot of content.
Right. So please like this video, leave us a comment below. We love to read and respond to your comments, and stay tuned to see what Fat Bird finds next. See you next time.
Bye everybody.